Hi everyone. So this is like my third take on trying to do this podcast for y'all. And now my kid's trying to wake up. So this is gonna be really really interesting. Okay, no, he went back to sleep. He was just stretching. Alright. So I'm poor about sticking to one specific topic with all these videos because my brain kind of just goes on what I want to talk about. This one's not too much squirrely from the topics that I usually talk about. So bear with me. So let's go on this ride together, okay? Sorry. I have slight ADD with this, okay? Well, ADHD now, but it was ADD back when I got diagnosed. So anyways, so I get bored and overwhelmed with topics and different hobbies and stuff like that and bouncing around. So, but this one, it's been weighing on me for quite a while, actually, the last couple of days. So I'm gonna use my notes so I don't bounce around too much, so bear with me. Okay. This topic deals with more on the side of spiritual attacks. So let's go down this rabbit hole just a little bit, shall we? So I grew up with dealing with a lot of spiritual attacks. I dealt with these as early as I can remember, so pretty young. They only got more and more frequent over the years. Each one could actually be its own story, but I'm not going to go into this whole deep story thing on this video because it would be a lot. So we're just going to like kind of hit the topics, talk about different types of attacks I dealt with, and if y'all want the full-on stories of them, I will give those in separate videos. Those of you that have watched my previous videos know that I grew up with a lot of abuse, sexual, physical, and emotional, from my stepfather at the time that my mom was married to. So a lot of these spiritual attacks could have something to do with him and could have been attached to him, such as like a demon, but I can't for sure say that it was attached to him. I could say that I feel like it was. I do not claim to be an expert on the topic because I'm not by any means, but I'll talk about the fact that we need to be very mindful in spiritual warfare because of some of these attacks that I went through, because they are horrific, and I know that I battled with them for years, and every now and then I still deal with a little bit here and there in a different manner, not necessarily the manner that I did as a child. Like, that was horrific. Now they're not so much like this. So let me get into it, okay? So growing up, I remember hearing the sounds of heavy footsteps. Like, I mean, like stomping and like dragging footsteps going up and down the hallways. Like, it would go up the hallway near my mom and my sister's room, would turn around, come back down the hallway, stop at my room for like a minute, and then pace again. And it would just do it all night long. And it didn't matter. My mom had the lights on and it would still happen. Like, my mom would keep the whole lights on so that if us kids got up, because we had little kids in the house, we could see to go to the bathroom or to go do whatever we had to do, because there was no like outlet in the hallway to plug in a nightlight or anything like that, so we had the actual lights on. I would only hear those kinds of footsteps when I was at my mom's house. At my dad's house, I didn't hear those footsteps, but it's a whole different ballgame. I remember seeing shadows, having my radio turn on by itself. Like, there was no remote or anything like that. Like, you had to physically get up, walk across the room, push the button in to turn on the radio. So I have no explanation for it. Like, the radio worked just fine. Like, it only did that once or twice, so it wasn't like some sort of like electrical issue. Like, so I don't know. Like, I really don't know why it would do that, other than these kinds of attacks trying to instill fear in me. But I also remember my closet door that was really hard to open would open by itself. It did that once or twice too, and just those once or twice. That's it. Just those 2 times. Tapping noises on the walls, nobody being in my room, so I have no clue. I would have horrific nightmares. Like, I mean horrific. Like, they would terrify me. Waking up to a heavy feeling like somebody was pushing me into my bed. No, it wasn't sleep paralysis, for those of you who are going to jump and say sleep paralysis. No, it was not sleep paralysis. I could physically move. It just felt like something was sitting on my chest or pushing me down into my bed. There were a few times where I would wake up breathing heavily, like, and feeling like I had somebody on my chest too. Those events, they only happened once at my dad's, and I can explain what I did in the moment at my dad's house, but I'll do that in a different video if y'all want me to go into that. I remember once waking up seeing a creepy smiling face next to my bed. That was at my dad's house too. And there was also once where I seen a full apparition type look of a dark figure, like I couldn't see his face, with a hat standing at the foot of my bed. I was maybe 16 or 17 years old. That happened at my dad's too. I remember my bed shaking, but nothing else was shaking in the house, so it wasn't like an earthquake or anything like that. We didn't really live in an area that was known to have earthquakes either, so that didn't make sense, like waking up to my bed shaking. I remember coming home from school, and I had a day bed that had metal bars, and I don't know how, because it wasn't like this when I left, but instead of my legs on my bed being like this, they were out like this. Don't have an answer for that either. There was one instance of a dark shadow figure. Like, I want to say I was still asleep. I can't say if I was or wasn't. I don't remember. A dark figure trying to talk to me, and me breathing heavy. And the only reason why I think I was still asleep is because I remember my sister kicking me out of the bed because she was sleeping in my room that night and telling me to stop breathing funny. So she brought me out of whatever that was about the time I was casting it away, actually. So, like, I casted it away and she kicked me out of bed. But there's so much that I remember happening that stopped happening after my mom's divorce to him finalized. Like, even when he was in jail, it was still going on. It took her a while to get the divorce finalized, but once it was finalized, a lot of those things stopped happening. Like, the super horrific, like, demonic type stuff stopped happening once that divorce was finalized. So whatever it was attached to him. There was other things that had happened that I seen within the house that had to do with my sisters and stuff like that too, that I will talk about if y'all want me to, but I'm not gonna really put that into the video today and, like, drag out the story. Now, I remember asking God why a lot of those things happened to me growing up. I guess at one point my mom told me that God told her why, and she sent me a message on why it was, but I don't remember what that message says. I'd have to go back and look at it. But I can tell y'all what it was later on. If y'all want me to, I can go back and find it and tell y'all. But if that is the case on what she said, then it makes sense onto why a lot of those things did happen to me, because Satan didn't want me to follow through with the plans God has for me. But I'm gonna close with saying spiritual warfare is a real thing. We all gotta be on alert for it. 1 Peter 5:8 says, be on alert. Well, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. So with that being said, I'm going to leave y'all with that thought, and y'all can jump in the comments and talk to me about some of the things that happened, and I can answer some questions and create some other videos about some of the other things that had happened with those spiritual attacks if y'all want. And we can also talk more about spiritual warfare. We can talk about praying, the power of prayer if y'all would like. And I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on the topics, because I'm not. I am studying right along with y'all, and trying to learn and be vigilant. So with that being said, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. God bless, and I will see you next time. Bye.